One of the most important things that I've learned as a parent of two boys for the last 12 years is that actions speak much louder than words. Whether it's the way I eat, whether it's the places I go, the preferences I have, or even the way I manage my time, my children are always watching, they're learning, and they're imitating. This can feel both encouraging and daunting at the same time for us as parents. I'm reminded of a poem that I read many years ago when I was just beginning my journey as a parent. It goes like this: "A careful man I want to be. A little fellow follows me. I do not dare go astray for fear that he will go the selfsame way. I cannot escape his eyes. Whatever he sees me do, he tries. Like me, he says, he wants to be this little fellow who follows me." This poem beautifully describes the great responsibility that we have as parents. Whether we know it or not, we are building every day, brick by brick, for the future. In the Old Covenant, Moses, when he instructed his people on how to celebrate the Passover, had told the Israelites that this was something that they had to do every year. The Passover festival, where they sacrificed a newborn lamb and where they had the meal with unleavened bread, dressed ready to go. This was a yearly event. And every time they practiced that, it was an opportunity that the parents took, and they were instructed to do this, to tell the children that the reason why we are celebrating this Passover festival is because of what God had done for us generations ago. It was a way for them, not only through words, but even through practice, to instruct them about the things of the faith. It tells us a lot, isn't it, about how we too need to be intentional in the way we, not only through our words, but also through our practice, parent our children. In modern times, we often hope that the church or the Sunday school or the youth group would take care of the spiritual growth of our children, isn't it? But as parents, we have a God-given responsibility to ensure that our children are growing in the faith. Think about it for a moment. We take meticulous care to plan their career, to save for the future. We research about schools, making sure that our children are getting the kind of education and foundation that they deserve. And while that's important, the question still remains, what kind of a spiritual legacy are we leaving behind for our children? Here are a few practical steps that I've tried to follow in my life that have somewhat helped me in my efforts to be a good parent, be a parent that's leaving a spiritual legacy behind. Number one is to model faith to our children. What does that mean? Let our children see us pray. Let them see us value and read the Bible. Let them also see us walk by faith, how we trust God in those challenging moments, how we pray and we see breakthroughs happen in our lives. Let them see and even hear us pray. Remember the disciples, they saw Jesus pray and then they wanted to know how to pray. Let our children also learn how to pray from our lives. Number two, create opportunities to have faith conversations. Never hesitate to share the stories. And even sometimes if you have to repeat them, and sometimes, as children, they go, here he goes again. But never hesitate to repeat those stories of the kind of things that God has done in your life. Whether it was the forgiveness you experienced, the breakthroughs you've experienced, the challenges that God helped you overcome. Let them hear it. Let those stories be passed on, because through those stories, they're hearing the story of the gospel. Number three, make faith accessible. Make it fun. Let them see it. Let there be traditions in our house, isn't it? The evening prayer, the songs we sing, the going to church, the community, all of those things, make it accessible to them. And let there be context in which we can have those conversations with our children. Remember, we as parents, we are building for years ahead. I want to leave you with this question. 20 years from now, our children are going to be parents themselves. What kind of a spiritual legacy are you and I leaving behind? You see, the encouraging fact is this, that it's never too late to build a spiritual legacy. Let's not think that I'm too far behind and I've lost too much time. You can start today by doing the little things, the simple things, and make sure that as we are doing that, we're building a solid foundation for our children as they grow up to recognize the kind of spiritual inheritance they have as individuals.